What's up, guys? This is In the Corner with Destiny McCubbin, and today I am joined by none other than Shawne Merriman. What's up, Shawne? How we doing?
What's up? It's been a while.
It has been a while, a couple years.
Couple years.
We met a couple years back training at Extreme Couture,
Yep.
and you've just really grown in the fight game yourself. I want to talk about all that. Are you still training at Extreme?
Yeah,
You
I
get some work?
still go over there and get mint work and
Yeah.
I'll jump into pro classes here and there too.
Okay.
Big Love Day on Thursdays. But I won't when they got wrestling in there, jiu-jitsu, I want to go on the ground. So.
Yeah, leave me out of that. I feel that. You've obviously made a presence in the MMA world. You are the owner of Lights Out MMA Promotions. What kind of got you started in that?
It's funny. I started training like in the mid 2000s with Randy Couture.
Okay.
Walking to the gym with him, Jay Glazer over at Fox Sports that introduced us. And, it was crazy at the time because like Tyron Woodley and all these guys just coming in.
Yeah.
It was like in mid 2000s
Yeah.
and Tyron wasn't who he is now,
Right.
but when he got done. So I was in there with all those guys around that time, which is cool. Chuck Liddell, Tito Ortiz.
that's so awesome.
Around that time when MMA was really starting to catch fire.
Blow up, yep.
Yeah.
Okay, and do you being able to go train there? Do you kind of find some of your talent for the show?
Yeah, so the funny part is, I'm still getting out and train like I used to. Like I'll go in there, and I'll hit mitts, and I'll have, they got open mat or sparring days, something like that.
Do you ever go scout? I guess I should say.
I can't help myself not to be looking while I'm in there.
Of course,
I'll ask Eric over at Extreme Couture. I'm like, yo, who's the kid over in the corner?
Yeah.
I was trained down there with and Tony McKee down there in Long Beach, the body shop out there, Black House in LA.
Okay, nice. Good work over there.
I got a chance to just train with around a lot of young and up and coming talent.
Absolutely. And I kind of got ahead of myself. You are obviously a former NFL linebacker for the Chargers.
Yeah, and Bills.
And Bills.
And
Okay,
Bills,
don't forget the Bills. When did you stop end your NFL career?
2013. You know what it was? After 2000, I would call it 9, the last 3 or 4 years, I wasn't healthy.
Okay.
I just, once you have a big injury, which I did to my knee, then you start to have other problems compensating, and then you never really get back to that. So Doug Whaley, who's the general manager at the time with the Bills, after the season wanted me to come back. And I kind of looked at him, shook my head, but in my head I knew I was done.
Yeah.
Right? Like I knew I was done. Once you play at a certain level, so long, and then you can't play like that anymore. You're like, why am I doing this? And I went straight to TV with NFL Network, Fox Sports, and then ESPN after that, and that was at the WWE Network when they launched. It was time.
Yeah,
it was time.
Yeah. It always NFL players like always blow my mind because obviously I've been in the fight game and I know that is crazy in and of itself as well. But like NFL players you guys are doing this every single week. Like the impact you're taking, it's almost like cars hitting cars, and it's crazy to me that you go back and do it 7 days later.
So I was. It's funny you said that because Gaethje said in his post interview. About how he get a chance to rest up and then get ready for the next fight. You got months and months off. I mean, Gaethje's targeting the White House fight,
right?
Which is not until June. So from this fight, you get a chance to heal up, completely,
yeah,
and then get ready for the next fight. Well, in the NFL, like you got an injury every week.
Yeah.
And you just hope that injury is not enough to miss the next week.
That's so crazy to me.
But you don't fully get healthy until the season is over. Right, every week you got a back, a shoulder, a knee,
and then you guys have off-season training as well,
then
right?
You got off-season training, so you got a good month or so off with doing nothing. Then you get back into the off-season workouts, and then you start to feel normal again. And before you know it, August come around, you're back in training camp.
Is the during your week off, obviously you're still training and stuff, but is it are you hitting recovery hard, like seeing physical therapists and all that every single day till the next game?
Oh yeah, and you're around the clock. I mean, I used to go sit around and play the Xbox, play Madden or NBA 2K or something like that. But you got ice pack on all the time on your shoulder and your knee, whatever's hurting your foot, an ice bucket, for your ankle. It like never stops.
Yeah, crazy. So, props to you. Like seriously, hats off, salute. It takes you guys are different breeds for sure.
Yeah.
So you said that you started training back in the 2000s, so you were still kind of in your NFL career. Was that just kind of something as like an exercise for you?
Yeah, because, so my uncles were professional boxers.
Okay.
So I had, fighting in my family, and then growing up in Prince George's County, Maryland, like right outside of D.C., we used to fight a lot. You had to.
Yeah.
It's part of it.
Right.
You got to fight.
It ain't on you, it's in you.
That's right. And so I kind of grew up boxing already a little bit, and then I was hitting the mitts in Jay Glazer's gym in L.A., and he just noticed, like, oh, man, you can box a little bit. And I was like, yeah, I got uncles professional boxers, and that's when he made the introduction to Randy Couture, and it's like, hey, I think that MMA will help you out in football. And so that's when I was like, look, shit, if it'll help me out in football, like, I'm in, whatever it is. And so I just started going and working with Randy and using my hands and leverage and open up my hips a little bit more, and just you being more I was gassed too. I was exhausted.
It's different cardio,
within 20 minutes, I was beat. Yeah. And now I'm looking up at the clock, and we know we got another 40 minutes left at least.
Oh my God,
this is the worst. But it was one of the best things I ever got a chance to do.
Yeah, awesome. And did you ever consider competing?
Yeah. I actually I was in talks with Bellator.
Really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I was in talks with Bellator to fight for a while.
And what weight class would that be for you?
Heavyweight.
Yeah, okay.
Heavyweight.
Yeah.
And the only reason why it really didn't happen, because the money wasn't there.
Right.
What I was asking. But I think
makes sense.
I think at the time around 2014 to 15, I think that I was just too early. Right? Because when Jake Paul came in, I think his first fight was like around 2018, 2019. Kind of opened the door for influencers and just other athletes in other sports, competing in combat sports.
Right.
And if they knew what they knew now, with the money I was asking, they would have gave it to me that day. But I think I was just early, so what I was asking for was a little bit different than what they would normally give somebody the first time of them fighting.
Yeah. And I know you said before you don't really like to mess around with the ground. Did you ever, though?
Yeah.
Play around with some wrestling and jiu-jitsu?
Oh, yeah.
That's a way different cardio, too, huh?
It's different. And then, too, you got some of these guys that are just skilled, been doing it. Oh, yeah. They've been doing jiu-jitsu since they were in their teens.
They could crawl, even some of them,
And
kids.
So, when you go on and work with somebody that experienced, you're like, I can use my athleticism to get out of stuff and get up, but then they got the will to take you down whenever you want. Just whenever they wanted to. So then you start just strictly working on your takedown defense so they can't get you on the ground because you don't want to go there.
Yeah, yeah.
But the great ones always find a way to get you back down anyway because they don't want to stand up with somebody that actually got a pretty good stand-up game.
100%. That's why it's like the amount of people that have the best takedown defense is still small in the UFC, Like you can name those people because it's hard to do.
Right, yeah.
So why did you decide to start your own promotion? What year did this come about?
It was
as well?
2019.
Okay.
We initially launched on Fox Regionals.
Okay.
Like Fox Sports West and Prime Ticket. And it was funny because the UFC had just left to go to ESPN. And so it was like perfect timing that, I went to go talk to them because I had my show. I was at Fox Sports. So, I said, hey, look, I'm launching my promotion. Come check it out. And I remember, I think it was Eric DeShanks, the president of Fox Sports, who I initially went to, and then they loved the idea. They sent me over to Fox Sports 1. I had a pitch there. They loved the idea, and they sent me over to the regionals. They loved it, and then we were on TV in 2 months.
Wow.
And we did well. We were doing extremely well. Then the pandemic hit, and then Sinclair came and bought up the regionals of Fox Sports, and they didn't know what was going to happen. We ended up at Fubo, Football TV, Football Sports for 2 years. Which was great. I mean, it's
you still there?
No, we're at ESPN Latin America now.
Okay. Cool.
And so it's the NFL is like a big, obviously number one here in the States, right? But when you're talking about global audience, it's combat sports, mainly MMA.
Oh yeah.
That's just massive. Down in all the South American countries and Brazil and
everywhere.
Russia, it's just Russia is so big.
Yes. What are the similarities that you've noticed between football and fighting? Like, as far as like discipline, mindset, grind.
It's one, you gotta be crazy as hell a little bit to go in there and let somebody punch you in the face and then be okay with it, that it's gonna happen. But I think, just playing football really my whole life, you walk in there, you're not walking in there with 2 left feet.
Right.
So your coordination is good. You got, you can get coached up. You listen to your coaches all the time because we have had coaches my entire life. And then you don't look at, failure as like it's the end of everything. Like, my first day I got in there with Randy, he was throwing my ass around everywhere. And, that day I was like, God damn, this sucks.
Yeah.
And I text him like, hey, I'm coming back tomorrow. Right.
Find something that kicked your ass. You
Yeah.
liked it.
You want to get back in there and learn more. You like your ability to learn on the fly and adjust is all things I've learned my entire life. Now the difference in MMA, especially in football, like in football, and a lot of guys who try to make that transition struggle with this early on, where everything is so tight, you don't breathe right, and you're just exploding off, all the time, and you're going hard and you gas out. And you have to have this sense of calmness in the cage where you don't panic. Guy gets you on the ground, you start looking, just everything has to slow down. Because if you exert your energy too fast, you're done.
Yeah.
You're gassed, you're done. And a lot of like former athletes that got into the sport, that's their biggest hurdle, getting in there and kind of letting your emotions take over, being too stiff, tightening up, and then gassing out.
Yep, exactly. Is that something maybe you dealt with or seen people deal with in football as well?
Yeah, football is actually helps you because everything we do is in 20 or 30 second spurts, right? Like a play is like 20 or 30 seconds long.
Okay, I never thought about that.
Yeah, so you go out and your recovery is walking back to the huddle and getting lined up for the next play. In fighting, you can't do that because if you get tired, somebody can start pressuring you right away.
Yeah.
And you gotta learn how to deal with it. Sometimes you're gonna get clocked and you gotta level up. You gotta stabilize. that drunken knee feeling a little bit and survive until you get back.
Yeah.
Back in good ways.
And your show is based out of Long Beach, right?
Long Beach, yeah.
What made you choose Long Beach, California as the home base?
Well, I think SoCal in general is just a hotbed for MMA. You got fighters all over the place, and from really North Cal, they got a ton of fighters up there, all the way down to San Diego, and so you can actually get fighters from California alone.
Just from one state.
That's it. You could if you want to. Smart. I mean, don't get me wrong. We got fighters coming out from Argentina. We got fighters that's Russian that's flying, but you could. If you really wanted to build an organization, you can do it right in California.
And you live here in Las Vegas. Was there a reason, or do you think about coming here, or was there a reason you decided to not come to Las Vegas, even though you live here?
Yeah, and then Jeff and those guys do a good job over there at Tough too. Yeah. I think for me, the pandemic pushed me over out of California. That was number one. But I just think that Vegas is a great place to live. Yeah. I travel a lot. I'm on the plane every 4 or 5 days. I'm in and out of town a whole lot, but I love coming back here.
I agree. I love Vegas. It's the best city. We have everything we need. You can get anywhere quickly, Yeah, I agree. I love Vegas. What would you say makes your promotion different from other promotions? It's grown so much over the last couple of years.
I think it's a combination because there's other good promotions in the States, and I've been to a lot of their shows before I actually launched my own, and I've been around it for a long time. I think the ability, because I played in the NFL, to get new eyeballs. I kind of have a built-in audience where a lot of
the exposure.
I have the exposure, and a lot of these guys don't. They're big in the MMA community, but like next week I'll be at the Super Bowl. I'm doing Radio Raw. I got like 60-something shows in 3 days.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
And for me, earned media is a lot better than paid media, where people actually want to talk about it. I'm not like going on here and say, hey, let's talk about my MMA promotion. It's like, oh, okay, I've been watching it. They bring it up.
Okay.
So it's kind of one of those things that benefited us a big part.
And you have great production. Everything is really nice. Everything got going on over there. And is it in the same place?
Yeah.
I went like a couple of years back. It was almost like a studio.
Big studio.
Yes.
Yeah. And what's good. So I told you when I retired, I got straight into TV. So being an NFL network, being a Fox Sports, being at ESPN, being a WWE network, production is what I understood the most. So it was a combination of having experience being around the business, right? Where managers, coaches, gyms, who's coming out of a good gym, who's not. hiring the right people, whether it's matchmaking, operations, all the way down to, to your digital content, everything, so being around it helped out. And then also being at the bigger networks, seeing how they operate, it was like a perfect storm.
Yeah.
And so that's why I felt like I knew we were going to have success, but we had a lot of work to do.
Absolutely. And what is your vision for Lights Out, nationally or even globally?
Yeah. Well, being on ESPN Latin America was a big deal for us.
Yeah.
Because there's only 2 promotions on ESPN right now, period. Okay. And that's, MMA wise, it's us and PFL.
Okay.
So that says a lot to
huge.
us. Yeah, massive.
Yeah, absolutely.
And especially coming out of the regional fight business sector and then watching it kind of grow.
Does it worry you now that UFC is no longer on ESPN because a lot of people have canceled subscriptions,
Yeah,
you said ESPN South America, is that its own thing?
No, it's all part of ESPN, just part of different regions. But this is the thing, I think that there's only going to be one UFC, no matter who comes and tries to compete. And there have been leagues that failed trying to compete.
Yeah.
But I think that the UFC has just done a great job at branding themselves. I mean, the casual fan thinks that the UFC is MMA.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I remember when we
fight
first
UFC.
Yeah, exactly. When I first launched Lights Out Extreme Fighting, my own family back home when we were on Fubo. And I think one of my cousins and my uncle, they were like, "Man, I was watching a UFC thing the other day on TV." And I was like, "Dude, it's called Lights Out Extreme Fighting. It's not, UFC's another league of their own, but they've done a great job at building a presence where people, if you're not an MMA, fan and the sport, you think that the UFC is MMA, and that's very, because I'm all about branding, right, and promoting and stuff like that. That is a very difficult thing to do, to have somebody recognize their brand with an entire sport with a discipline that they think is that.
Right. Yeah, definitely. What kind of fighters are you looking for when you get talent for the roster?
It's when we first started out, I mean, people knew about me what I did in the NFL, right? Initially.
Yep.
And which is a good thing, because at least people know who you are.
Yeah.
But you still kind of got to earn your cred in the MMA business, because
absolutely
the sport of MMA, the fans are very much like the NFL. Crazy as hell. You can't tell them nothing wrong about their favorite player, their favorite fighter.
Yep.
They will argue. They will fight you over whoever their favorite guy is. And the NFL's like that too. You say something about them damn Raiders.
Yeah.
You say something about the Chiefs or something, like they will fight you over.
My mom is diehard Dallas. I get it. She's crazy.
Oh, they're the worst, man. You can't say nothing about the Cowboys.
You cannot.
But it's very similar, but in their own way, where you have to earn kind of the respect of the fans. So when we first started, like, okay, you got heard, Shawne Merriman has this new MMA promotion over there, and then, but you got other ones that's been around longer than we have.
Yeah.
So that's what the fighters, the up and coming fighters, know first, because they have the relationship. The managers, the coaches, got the relationship with this promotion. Right. So you almost got to, in a way, prove yourself.
Yep.
To a new audience. That for one, that you are a real fan of the sport, you have a passion, you love the sport, which I've been around it for almost 20 years. Yeah. So that's always been out there. But also, you know what the hell you're doing. Exactly, understanding it. And putting on great fights, and then being consistent with it as well.
And I think it helps too that you've trained. You know, like sometimes you have coaches or promoters that have never done anything or been punched in the face, nothing, and they're sitting here, trying to tell you how to work and stuff. So I think you probably get a lot more respect even in that aspect.
Big time, because I'm able to relate to a lot of these guys.
Exactly.
And I've jumped in fight camps before and stayed a week for somebody that needed a big body.
It's amazing.
Right?
Yep.
And knowing what these guys go through for not even the injuries, someone walking into the cage and they're nowhere close to 100%, or the weight cutting. So you see all these things up and close for years. So you have a different level of respect for these guys, and also being a former athlete in another sport. Yeah. And competing at the highest level too.
For a long time.
For a long time. And so when people see that, you kind of get a pass for a lot of things being in the sport.
And on your show, is it pro-am or just pro?
Amateur and pro.
Okay. I love that. And how important is it to have these amateurs and up-and-coming fighters for the sport?
I think that the amateur fights, just amateur sports in general, is some of the most overlooked things that, that's going on right now. And the pros and stuff are great because, they're in their right. They were all amateurs before. But I don't know if the amateurs necessarily get as much attention.
Yep.
Because some of these dudes go out there and scrap, and some of them might be a California State amateur champion, at a lightweight or middleweight or whatever it is, and so they got experience. They got their own following.
Yeah.
Of people to come out and see. I mean, some of our biggest fights, amateurs sold the most tickets.
Oh yeah,
because they might have been local and they might have been,
and that's their money.
That's their money.
They don't get a purse,
right? They don't get a purse.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's how I was as an amateur. I would sell out the house, and sometimes I was making more than the pros on the card.
Yeah,
Yeah. And sometimes you see these amateurs working harder than the pros too. Like when they go out there and fight and they perform. And then even just being in the gym, you see amateurs kind of they have more to prove, so they're in there, and that's kind of when you see sometimes the pass up.
Yeah, and some of those guys take more risk.
Yeah,
I mean, because it goes in your amateur record, but don't go in your pro record. So, we got some great amateurs as well.
Yeah, what would you say that fighters need beyond just talent?
Well, this is the thing. Like the NFL's been around a lot longer than MMA has, right? And I remember. When I first started training, I was around all the bigger name guys in the mid 2000s. Like they wasn't taking care of their bodies like they're doing now.
Right.
They didn't have nutritionists, and most of these guys, not most of them, but a good amount of them only train for a fight.
Yeah, exactly. In camp, and that's it.
In camp, and they sat around, drinking and eating and playing video games when they wasn't. And I think now, because the opportunity and the money has gotten a lot better, where people are saying now, like maybe if I took care of my body more, if I had a nutritionist, if I had physical therapists, if I did these things to improve, I can go make real money. Yeah. And it wasn't like that before.
I'm so glad you touched on that, because I always speak about the evolution of the fight game and the talent, and that is a big thing. Is nowadays people they're actually caring about nutrition, caring about recovery.
Yeah,
I think it's such a difference as to why you see the performances being so much better.
Yeah, and it's only going to, because it's MMA technically is so far behind some of the other pro sports, it's only going to get better, even with the fighter pay.
Yeah.
I mean, even with the fighter pay, it's like, and I try to use this as an example. When I played, I had some years where I was considered the best at what I did in my position.
Absolutely.
And I knew what I was making then. I look at these guys now, you might have a guy coming off of the bench who's not even playing, it was making just as much money, or if not more than I was.
Really?
And so the game, the whole thing has changed. And it should. It always should get better every single year. So, I'm not like the old salty guy sitting back like, oh, he sucked, why he making money? I'm like, this is good for the sport.
Yeah.
It's good for the sport. Absolutely. And so, in some years you're gonna have, if Conor McGregor came in now, as compared to when he came in, what 14, 13, something like 2013, 14, when he came on the scene, or whatever time that was. If he came in now, the same stardom, social media and all that stuff, who knows what Conor McGregor would make? Or John Jones.
Right. You're so right.
Or Chuck Liddell or Tito. Like, these guys would be making astronomical amounts of money, because even now, when I go places with Chuck, that mohawk, people will see him and that's the Iceman. Still to this day. And this is somebody that built a career with no social media.
Isn't that crazy? Because now we look at like clips and stuff from their career. Imagine if they were able to put that all out back then. They would be mega superstars. Yeah, you're so right. And the time has just changed, and you can't really be the old salty fighter or player, that's saying, oh, these guys, and be upset that they're making. You should be, if you really love the sport, you should be happy that the sport progressed. It's progressing. So you've had Lights Out Extreme Sports. Is that what it is? Extreme Sports. Extreme fighting. You've had this for about 7 years now. Yeah. What has been like one of your favorite success stories over the 7 years? Well, I think to get a TV deal off the rip, it's never happened. True. By nobody. Yeah. And we did that. I negotiated a deal with Fox Sports when UFC left to ESPN. So just little milestones like that, and I
because I always want more and want more and want more, and everybody else around me kind of like, hey man, you should, be happy now. So I think that's one of the biggest things, and I'm like that with everything. I'm like always, I want to do more.
Yeah.
But you do have to slow down and start, looking at the smaller milestones in order to see what you've done.
Yep.
And I'm getting better with that.
Good. As you should. Definitely be proud of, everything that you've accomplished, up to this point. So what's been one of the biggest challenges of having the fight promotion crossing over into the world?
Yeah, it's a bigger grind that people know.
Yeah.
Right. Even at the regional level.
Even having the exposure you have, I'm sure.
Oh, for sure. Because, the TV contracts aren't as big as they used to be. Like ESPN is going, or a Paramount's going to give the big dollars to UFC.
Right.
Because if they're going to throw in any money anyway, it's going to be to the biggest. Yeah. And we were fortunate enough to be on Fox originally, then going to Fubo, where we got a pretty decent contract over there as well. But I think there's going to be a shift here pretty soon because they're not giving out the TV deals like they used to, for whatever reason that is. And you're starting, a lot of these regional promotions are being looked at as content and not ability to be a part of the growth.
Yep.
So like a network, Fox Sports got, UFC was there, but they're probably not going to get back into MMA. So now you got one of the big networks gone. ESPN just lost UFC to Paramount. Okay, so who are they going to get the next big contract to? So it almost, in a sense, as far as when it comes to the regional promotions and growing promotions, a lot of these guys don't. I mean, LFA, UFC Fight Pass, right. So it's happening in real time.
Yeah.
And so unless these networks decide to say, you know what, we want to be a part of this and a part of this growth to support because you need money to grow.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of dying regional promotions that's not going to be able to survive unless you figure something out else to do in order to grow.
And do you think that you're obviously you're going to keep growing and stuff, but do you feel like you will expand out of Long Beach, out of the studio you're in?
Yeah,
but it was different states.
Yeah, it was very intentional with us being there because for a lot of reasons. I mean, production cost goes down. Okay. Thunder Studios has been great to work with. There's tons of fighters from LA on down to San Diego, even North Cal. We got a lot of guys coming up from Nick Diaz, Army Gym.
I went to a show. I love it's a really cool studio, and I love that area.
Yeah, and it's great for us because it's kind of central.
Yeah.
Right. You can get guys to come up from San Diego. You can get guys to come down from the Bay.
Yeah.
And sometimes we'll want to fly guys in from the Bay, and they're like, "Look, just pay me, then I'll drive and keep the money." And I'm like, "All right, cool. It's good." But there's so much room to go. You have to the traditional way of growing these MMA promotions is out the window now. You have to figure out the verticals to grow and to sustain the growth and really scale, because back in, like I said, the TV contracts were bigger then. So you can actually grow a league just on having a nice TV deal.
I mean, it's so attractive, the fact that you're on ESPN to these fighters.
Yeah, big time. And so that's why we get some of the next up-and-coming superstars. Yeah. But also, too, the sponsorships. You might have sponsors that may not take kind to MMA because it's not something they're not into.
Their brand.
Their brand. So that narrows everything down to being very specific to the type of sponsors you're working with. And so, I did most of the selling when we first started to sponsors and TV deals. I was doing all the deals, everything.
Yeah. Okay.
And so for me, I know how the game works, where you have to get on there with a sponsor and you got to tell them, forget this is MMA. This is a global sport now.
Yeah.
It's not about, guys getting kicked and punched in the face anymore. This is one of the most watched sports in the world.
It's a business.
It's a business. So if you're talking to, let's say, a Toyota, right, that's not into combat sports or particularly MMA, well, if I did a poll to show you how many people in this audience right now has a Toyota and how many more you can sell if you had some stuff in here.
Exactly.
So, I would have to jump in and take these calls because, it was something that I had to go and sell.
Yeah.
And that's, I don't care if it was a water company or if it was an energy drink company. So yeah, it's,
Yeah. In the beginning, you took it into your own hands because you kind of knew how to talk to these people.
Yeah, because when you, especially when you launch something, you gotta do everything. Until you get the right people in place to do it.
Yeah.
But from that ground up, you got to be the one doing it, and you can't ever say, this is too small. I mean, hell, I'll go in there before a fight, and I'll see like the sponsors on the side panels, the tape is a little off. And I'll be in there fixing it. I'll be in there fixing the tape. Because you want the sponsors to be presented well on camera and on TV, and so I'll go in there before commission, go in there and say something about them. I'm in there fixing it myself. Yeah. So that's nothing that that I don't enjoy being a part of.
That's good. And who are some of your biggest sponsors?
Well, we had Office Beacon is one of the ones, and then Family First Life, insurance company that I've been with for like almost about 5 years now.
Okay, awesome.
Big in the life insurance space. And Family First has been a great partner of ours, and we got tons of agents, life insurance agents that come to the fights, and they be out there. You selling life insurance, but watching people get punched in the face. They out there doing policies for people in the lobby.
That's so funny.
But yeah, we've had a ton of people come in, but then when you start doing bigger things, now you need a team to come in and sell sponsors. Yeah. Right. So I got to the point where we started to grow really fast, and we needed more help, so I had to bring in more people.
What is the competition like? I guess, is it like, do you feel like you're in big competition with LFA? Yeah. Tough Enough. Right. Shows like that, or even the bigger shows.
Well, it's funny because this is I had to get used to this space and the type of people that was in it, right? Because I don't look at anybody as competition. Yeah. If you can be successful doing what you do, then the competition really don't matter, because I have a different view in how I think we should grow. And so I never was in competition. Like Ed, I just talked to Ed Swartz over the LFA, and I went to Bagel Mania out here with Jeff. We went to breakfast, some time ago.
Kind of wondering, are you guys more like friends and kind of help each other out, or send each other fighters?
It's I wouldn't say like help each other out, man. But for me, you can want to be great and have success in what you're doing without hating the other person or hating the other company. Yeah. We got to be bigger than them. Like, we can look, as long as we're successful in what we're doing. Yeah. I can give a shit with what's going on over there. Yeah. Right. And exactly. I've never badmouthed anybody. I don't talk about the promotions, good or bad. I just don't. Yeah. I'm so focused on our growth. Yeah. And that's why I never really saw anybody as competition. That's why, I was with Ed. He was next to my suite at the Chargers game. He's a Chargers fan too. And so we was talking for like a half an hour and just about the business and the industry right now, where it's at. And the same thing with Jeff over at Tough. We've done the same thing.
There's room for everybody to eat. Yeah, there really is. There's so many fighters, now these days. What surprised you the most about the MMA world?
There's some stupid ass people in this. Like you know what I mean? Like
no, for real.
It's some, and it's like not really. It's kind of a dumb arrogance, right? Yeah. Where you got people like, I don't look at anybody as really competition. Nobody's an enemy unless you do some shit. Then I got now you get on my bad side. Right. That's on you. But that was never my intentions. But you got a lot of people with pride and egos and stuff like that, and as big as the fight business is, I come from the NFL, where it's mega monster of money, the TV deals, the
crazy world.
It's a crazy world where it's football is king here in the country. So when I came over to the MMA space and I see somebody acting like arrogant to me, or not to me, but I see them. And I'm like, dude, listen, like, relax.
Sit down.
Just relax for a minute. Or somebody getting intimidated by something. I'm like, dude, I'm not. If you're intimidated by me, that's on you, because that's not my objective anyway. So yeah, a lot of that, and then some of these guys, especially on the younger, so you got some really good managers out here, managers companies, and y'all can rattle off 3 or 4 management companies that we work with that I think it does a good job for their fighters. But you got some of them that's just dumb as hell and sending these fighters down the wrong direction. Yes. If they got a problem or ego with somebody, that they put themselves in front of their fighters you know, whether they fight or get paid, you know, because they might have something with somebody, right? And I'm like, dude, listen, if you're a manager, your job as a manager is to get your fighter in the best situation possible, get him paid the most, or get him in the right position. And just because you don't like somebody, don't put yourself in the middle of, you know, making sure your fighter's taken care of. And I see that a lot. So just little stuff like that, but I just wouldn't want to do anything else.
Yeah.
Like it's just, you know, trust me, when we first started out and I started getting them calls, you know, guys getting hurt or missing weight, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, commission is like, hey, this guy's gone, you need a replacement. I mean, our first fight out the gate, we almost canceled because we didn't have enough fights.
Oh my goodness.
We lost like 3 fights in like a 24-hour period, 4 fights.
It's crazy. I mean, look at just this weekend with UFC.
Yeah.
How many fights got scratched day of,
right.
you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
It happens. Were you kind of like, shit, do I want to do this?
No, that's when you find out if you want to do it or not. You know, because it's easy to quit when you get those certain things, or when you're growing and, you know, you're not, maybe you didn't, like our first 2 shows, we didn't do well in tickets.
Okay.
And so I start implementing different things to do better in ticket selling, whether it's getting more local fighters or start to sell ahead of time, making sure fighters have, you know, physical tickets in their hand, you know, those things. You got to figure that out quick.
Yeah.
But also bringing in the right people to make sure that they can facilitate those things. You try to figure it out early.
Yep. And do you kind of like save the show if, you know, when people fall out? Do you kind of have like backup fighters that you're looking at?
Oh yeah, especially the bigger ones.
Yeah.
Right. You know, we've had guys that pull out or miss fight because of injury or something happened, and you try to get them back on as fast as possible. And then if they go 2 or 3 fights without having a fight, you want to make sure that whatever happened last time don't. So you have a backup plan just in case. Yeah. You know, maybe that guy sold a lot of tickets. You don't want to drop him too because he had a lot of people coming out to the fight. So you start to, you know, really dial in on a lot of these things. Yeah.
And do you have anything coming up right now for Lights Out?
Yeah, we well, I got to get through the Radio Row next week.
Okay.
You know, I think I have like 63 shows in 3 days, something like that.
Yeah, and it's Super Bowl. Like,
yeah,
hello,
Super Bowl.
I can't forget. It's probably going to be crazy for you.
Yeah, it's just, you know, a lot of hosting TV stuff. Yeah. You know, talking about the game, but also talking about the fight. So trying to get our next fight day back on the books. Okay,
awesome. Well, I'll be on the lookout for that. What lessons did you take from the NFL into entrepreneurship?
Oh, you know, I think athletes are the most disciplined people on planet Earth. Yes, like, you know, especially, you know, in football, especially, or basketball, some of you start playing sports at a young age. Yeah. You're told when to wake up, when to go to sleep,
what to eat,
when to eat, what time to eat, what time to watch film, what time to work out. Yeah. And so you get into this regimen, and even now, my regimen is still the same. Like, I still wake up at, you know, 5:30. I'm up, and I'm in the gym by 6:30.
Okay. What time is bedtime?
Like 10:30. I try to be asleep before 10:30. Okay. And so you wake up. First thing I do, I go to the gym, get that out the way, and then I start to work. And that regimen never really left me. I do that 5-6 days a week. And so when you do that, you start applying the same discipline to other things where I don't know anything else but discipline, you know. Structure. If something needs to be done, it needs to be done like right now.
Yeah.
That's
good. That's good.
Procrastinating. You know, you can ask anybody that's around me, I'll answer an email or text message faster than anybody you ever seen because the phone's always in my hand.
Yeah. Yep.
And, you know, so yeah, it's that part that really allowed me, because that's the hardest thing when you launch or do anything, is having a discipline where you take care of things and you get things done ASAP. Yeah. It has to be right now.
Yeah, I'm sure working for you, the people who work for you know too. Like, it's like, you know, we got to be on, right? No procrastinating.
Yeah, and it's cool because I think a lot of people who are founders or CEOs of anything, it's not a way to poke out your chest, right? You have to get everybody to first of all believe in what they're doing, because if you don't believe in the direction the company's going, nobody's going to believe it. Yeah. And so you have to also get everybody working on the same team, and somebody's continuously not pulling their weight. You gotta remove them. You gotta move on from them.
Can't have a bad egg.
And you know, I've had to let go of plenty of people that I actually like personally, and they just wasn't cutting it. Yeah. And so you have to be able to.
There's something to live up to.
You have to. Yeah.
100%. Is it hard to balance, you know, your passion for the game with business, or is that is it easy for you to stand on business because you have for so long?
Dealing with the fighters is tough, because we may have a budget for a fight, but you really like this kid, and you want him on a card, so you'll try to work something make it work. But if it doesn't fit the budget or put us over where we need to be at, because again, discipline, you got to stay within the confines of where you guys are. It's hard to being the athlete in me. It's hard to saying, hey, we just can't do it, right? And so that dealing with the fight is probably that, probably the most.
Okay. And have you seen some big like guys that fight for you and you're like, oh, that's a star, he's going to the UFC
all the time?
Have you sent anybody to the UFC
all the time yet? We Ethan Ewing
that's right.
Yeah,
that's right. Okay, so big fan, and I really want to get him on the show. I've been hitting his line. Because I was obviously watching that fight, his debut, and I had seen that he had just gotten the belt with you guys, right? Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so cool that he fought for you guys. Yeah,
he was 4-0 with us. And, guys like the first time I seen him, and I heard about him, but I never saw him up close. First time I saw him fight, after the first round, I look over our matchmaker, Jane, I said, yeah, he's gone. He's got like his first.
It's got the chills
the
thinking about
first round he fought. Who a couple of the guys I think I knew he was gone.
Yeah,
I didn't know when.
Incredible striking,
but I know he was going to go to the UFC. Chris Aldrez was another one who just won Dana's Contender Series a few months ago. He walked before. I didn't see him fight yet. When he fought for us, when he walked off of the Mercedes Sprinter bus and he had this swag and this vibe to him, he just had a different aura about him. I was like, yeah, he's gone.
Okay. How does that feel? Does that make you feel good? Like you're kind of like to give this platform for them to go and show their skills and then send them off,
I'll tell you the coolest moment, the coolest thing for me that I get out of all of it. And we got Jake Baby in it that's there, and Tyrell Fortune. We got guys who I think will go. Chris Aldrez, when he won Dana's Contender Series, he texted me when he got out the cage and was saying how much he appreciated the opportunity, and I was kind of a part of why he was there.
Wow.
And I was like, for me,
it's gotta mean a lot.
It's a lot because here you are, I'm a former linebacker for the NFL, and I made this transition over to the sport that I had a passion in, and now you giving these guys an opportunity. And
life-changing.
It's life-changing opportunity. And that Chris is going to be a star in the UFC. I really believe that.
That's really cool.
And so I got 10 more cases like that that I got where guys just hit me up like, man, I appreciate that.
Any females you kind of have your eyes on that fight for you?
And we need more of them, to be honest.
Y'all heard that?
Yeah, we definitely. I just think that some of the best scraps out there was been in the female fights.
Yeah. And do you do every weight class?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, the girls bring it. The girls bring
100%.
it. Yeah. It's so cool to see. Where do you see Lights Out in the next 5 years?
Well, it's the brand. I've been called Lights Out since I was 16 years old.
Okay.
Right. And I got it because I was obviously knocking people out on the field and stuff like that. But when I first got drafted by the Chargers, I had this vision of Lights Out being bigger than what I did on the field. And so at 21 years old, I went after and bought the name and likeness and trademarks when I was 21. I didn't know what the hell I was doing at the time or why I wanted to do it. I just knew I was going to do something. I knew it. And to see what everything else happened after that has been pretty awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Just going to keep growing. Yeah. I can't wait to see what you do with it.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Of course. Just really quick. When you're knocking people out on the field, that's just from impact?
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
My goodness. Do you see them go down and you're obviously still playing and going, but are you like, oh, damn, they just knocked him out?
Yeah, I think you got...
Just fangirling over here.
You have... you got 4 quarters, you got 60 minutes of football, and you can go out there and pretty much do anything you want to anybody. And that always intrigued me.
Animal.
I was always like, I remember when I was 11 or 12 years old, and I was thinking, I was like, man, I can go. I was asking my coach, I just started playing football. I said, I can do that? Mm-hmm. He said, you sure can. I said, really?
Shit, sign me up.
Right. And I was like, yeah, no, this is pretty much it.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, it is an absolute honor having you on. You're a legend in the NFL world, and now you're making huge waves in the MMA world. I've known you for a long time. You're a good friend of mine. So
appreciate it.
Thank you for
Thanks
taking the
having
time
me
to
on.
be here.
Thank you.
Of course. Thank you guys so much for listening. Go ahead and like and subscribe. Show some love. This is In the Corner with Destiny McCubbin. Real fighters, real stories, real talk. See you next round.